In 1947, the Golden Temple of Amritsar became a place of thanksgiving for Sikhs who had survived a terrible journey after fleeing their homes in fear for their lives. The British rule of India had drawn to a close, and the independent states of India and Pakistan were formed. The creation of the two countries led to chaos, as over 10 million Sikhs, Muslims and Hindus were on the move. 3 British teenagers retraced their families' journeys across the border at that time of partition. Indi Pada, a Sikh from Crawley.
I hadn't actually known a lot about partition because it hadn't been taught to us, and the only way I learned it was by asking my grandma. And she always used to tell me how much she loved living in Pakistan and how much she loved the people. And the fact that she had to move destroyed her in some ways because it took away an aspect of her life.
Qasim Ahmed, a Muslim from Gloucester.
Having the opportunity to go to India was really important because I've never been there before, and also because I've always been brought up in a really almost conservative Islamic environment. I've never had the opportunity to find out about other religions. More than anything else, I really wanted to personally find out more about my own culture as a Punjabi Muslim.
Neha Malhotra, a Hindu from Liverpool.
Before I came on the trip, I didn't really know very much about partition. I knew that there was a lot of fighting and lots of people killed, and that it was a very horrible time to be living through, but I didn't actually know very much detail.
Their grandparents were all young children at the midnight hour when British rule ended. These are Midnight's grandchildren. Neha and Indi's families were among the millions of Hindus and Sikhs who felt forced to flee from the new Muslim state of Pakistan and cross the border into India. Indi's Sikh family found refuge in Amritsar, and Neha's Hindu family travelled on to Ludhiana. Qasim's relatives, like many Muslims in India, felt they had no choice but to travel in the opposite direction from India to Pakistan. 60 years on, today's travellers learn of the scale of the turmoil and bloodshed their grandparents and families faced in their flight to a new country.
Now I would say, welcome to Amritsar.
Thank you very much.
Qasim, do you speak Hindi, English, Punjabi?
I can speak a bit of Punjabi, broken Punjabi.
What do you speak at home?
English. English and Punjabi, we've got Punjabi words mixed in. But I've been trying really hard for the last 2 years to say, Mum and Dad, can you please speak Urdu with us? It's time for us to speak Urdu.
Right.
But they never get around to it.
Their journey starts in the Indian city of Amritsar, close to the border with Pakistan. Neha, Qasim and Indi's families all come from Punjab, a region which is now in both countries. It was cut in two by the partition border. For Indi, one of the most important moments of the trip comes first, a visit to the Golden Temple. For her family, and particularly for her grandmother, who now lives with her in Crawley, it is more than just a place of worship.
I can't believe I've actually been given the chance to go to the Golden Temple. I don't think anyone could understand what this really means to me.
Indi's grandmother was one of the many thousands of Sikhs who came to offer thanks at the temple when they arrived in Amritsar from Pakistan.
After she had safely crossed over, her dad took her and her whole family to the Golden Temple, and they did prayers, and they thanked God that they were alive and they got there in one piece, and she's just really happy that I'm going and getting to experience the same thing she did.
Only one fish. No?
It's Indi's first visit to India and Qasim and Neha's first visit to a Sikh temple. At 10:30 in the evening, the temple is getting ready for its nightly closing ceremony.
They welcome like all religions, and it's such a big religious monument, not just for Hindus but for any religion, so it's really nice to be here. I mean, I've always wanted to come, so I fulfilled that, and it's just amazing, such a beautiful sight.
'It's actually been really nice seeing the Golden Temple, because it's always a place I've always wanted to come and see. And also having seen a Sikh ceremony, it's a first for me. So it's been really nice coming here. But we are all exhausted because we've been travelling the whole day. And we've had about 2 hours of sleep. So hopefully we should go back to the hotel and sleep off the jet lag.
Two hours drive from Amritsar and still in India is the city of Ludhiana.
Yeah.
This is where Neha's grandmother arrived with her Hindu family when they had to leave their home city of Faisalabad, which had become part of Pakistan. In this street, in this house, Neha's father was born and her grandmother began her new life. Her uncle shows her into their old home.
Well, it's actually my first proper day in India, and oh my god, it is so hot. Oh, I'm probably sweating and everything, but well, I'm kind of happy being out and about, because yesterday I wasn't that well and I just slept all day, but it's all good. I'm all live and kicking now. I'm just ready to do stuff. Well, the atmosphere here is amazing. Everyone's all nice. Come on, say hello. I mean, well, I'm really happy, and these guys are making us, well, making sure at home. I swear the beeping is getting on my nerves. I hate it. It's like in England, you don't hear one beep.
Your dad was born. Wow. Born.
Neha is shown the room where her father was born.
Wow. They all born here.
This exact room?
This is the actual room at that time. And that was the small room with them.
So has it changed a lot?
Yeah, they all changed it.
It's nice to be here where my dad and his brothers and sisters are born, and it's reassuring that this is where the whole family got to settle down after all the trouble over the partition. It's nice to know that they got a bit of normality here and got back to their normal lives.
India versus England. India versus Pakistan. Who should I be? Should I be England or Pakistan?
Pakistan.
Pakistan.
English?
Okay, English. England versus Pakistan.
Okay.
India.
And for Neha, Indy and Qasim, this was the question of their journey. English, Indian, Pakistani. Which are they? What should they call themselves?
I know for Neha this day must be incredibly special, because she was with family, but you know, all the people which lived near and all the little kids playing with us, I don't know why, but they felt like family as well. They made us feel so welcome, and I'm just really happy that I met them and played with them and joked about, and I'm pretty sure Qasim's pretty excited now as well. I know we lost the game, but they still said we won to keep us happy. They're lovely people. And I just, hope it's the same when I go and see my family later on today.
Off the main route from Ludhiana to Amritsar is the remote village of Jahod. For Qasim, this is the first time he has visited the Indian village which some of his relatives called home before they fled across the border to Pakistan. And he meets Sondi, the Hindu friend who helped his relatives escape.
He was wearing new clothes. He was waiting for us. Iddu da potra. Iddu da potra.
Iddu da. Eid Muhammad.
Chando Begum.
Chanda Begum the Eid Muhammad.
He will show you her home.
They had lived as neighbours, like family, and suddenly they found their lives torn apart because Qasim's Muslim uncles had to leave.
But that dome. He's saying that there was a dome on top of the mosque and there were minarets as well. And there's the only part of the mosque that's remaining is this wall. So he showed me the direction of Mecca, and I'm going to do ablutions and pray in that direction.
Allahu Akbar.
Are you sad that they left?
ਮਸੋਸ ਨੂੰ ਅਸੀਂ ਤਾਇਆ ਚਾਚਾ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਤਾਂ ਰੋਟੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਚੰਗੀ ਲੱਗੀ 2 ਸਾਲ ਉਹਦੇ ਤਾਂ ਗਿੱਦੜ ਬੋਲਦੇ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਉਹੀ ਬਾਰੇ ਆ ਕੇ ਰਾਤ ਨੂੰ ਦੇ ਪਿੰਡ ਵਿੱਚ ਕੌਣ ਤਾਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਤਾਂ ਚੌਥੇ ਮਹੀਨੇ ਆ ਕੇ ਪਿੰਡ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਬੜੇ ਹੈ ਜਾਨਵਰ ਰੋਂਦੇ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਆ ਕੇ ਪਿੰਡ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਕਿਹੜਾ ਬੰਦਾ ਤਾਂ ਉਸ ਮੌਕੇ ਹੈ ਮਰੇ ਹੋਏ ਮਾਵਾਂ ਦੇ ਉੱਪਰ ਬੱਚੇ ਚੁੰਗਦੇ थे वो भी देखे हैं ਅਸੀਂ ਸਾਰੇ ਬਾਹਰ ਦੇਖੇ ਮੇਰੇ ਸਾਰੇ ਦੇਖੇ हैं मेरे हमारी तरफ ਤੇ ਸ਼ੇਰ ਮੁਹੰਮਦ ਮੇਰਾ ਭਾਈਆਂ ਵਾਂਗੂ था ਵੀ ਉਸ ਨੂੰ ਕਹੇ ਵੀ ਯਾਦ ਕਰਦਾ ਤੇ ਜੇ ਉਹ ਹੋਵੇ ਸ਼ੇਰ ਮੁਹੰਮਦ ਮੇਰੀ ਤਰਫ ਤੇ ਸਾਹਬ ਸਲਾਮ ਉਸकी
Coming to this village today has been very important for me because I've always felt the need to find the part of who I am, which is Indian. I've always felt as if India is part of my identity, but I've never been able to say out loud that I'm an Indian. I can't say I'm Indian because I'm not. My parents come from Pakistan, and that's really frustrating and it's really annoying. And now coming to this village and seeing Sondi and meeting the people who are here, I feel very content and very happy. I'm so happy to come back to India and actually experience it and talk to people who knew my relatives.
After Indi's family left Amritsar, they settled in India in the area of Gurdaspur. Her grandmother stayed there for 8 years before marrying and moving to England.
मम्मा जी दी भैन
ਭਾਬੀ ਜੀ
भाभी जी अच्छा
ਹਾਂ 2 ਭਾਬੀ ਜੀ ਨੇ ਇਹ ਵੀ ਤੇ ਉਹ ਵੀ
अच्छा हम पता लग गया
ਹੁਣ ਪਤਾ ਲੱਗਿਆ
डैडी जी और तो मैं मेरी डैडी उते गई they just saying I look like my dad.
Indi's great uncle tells how the family had to leave their village in Pakistan.
ਸਾਡਾ ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਇਕੱਲਾ ਘਰ ਸੀ ਤੇ ਸਾਡੇ ਮੁਸਲਮਾਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਬੜੇ ਅੱਛੇ ਤਲਕ ਸੀ ਉਹ ਫਿਰ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਆਪਣੇ ਘਰ ਰਹਿ ਗਏ ਉੱਥੋਂ ਕੋਈ 3 ਮੀਲ ਤੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਪਿੰਡ ਸੀ ਉੱਥੇ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਲੈ ਗਏ ਕਈ ਦਿਨ ਅਸੀਂ ਉੱਥੇ ਠਹਿਰੇ ਜਦੋਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਵੇਖਿਆ ਵੀ ਲੋਕ ਹੁਣ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਇੱਥੇ ਵੀ ਸਾਡੇ ਕੋਲ ਆਣ ਕੇ ਤੰਗ ਕਰਨਗੇ ਤੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਇੰਨੇ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਰੋਕ ਨਹੀਂ ਸਕਦੇ ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਮੁਸਲਮਾਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਸਾਰੀ ਆਬਾਦੀ ਸੀ ਉੱਥੇ। ਉਹਨਾਂ ਆਖਿਆ ਵੀ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਚੱਲੋ ਤੇ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਅਸੀਂ ਨਨਕਾਣੇ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਛੱਡ ਆਉਂਦੇ ਹਾਂ। ਉਹ ਫਿਰ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਰਾਤ 2 ਘੋੜੇ ਸਾਡੇ ਸੀ, ਬਾਕੀ 5-4 ਘੋੜੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਸੀ। ਉਹ 6-7 ਬੰਦੇ ਘੋੜਿਆਂ ਦੇ ਚੜ੍ਹੇ, ਬੰਦੂਕਾਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਕੋਲ ਸੀ। ਅਸੀਂ ਗੱਡਾ ਲੱਦ ਕੇ ਆਪਣਾ ਮਾੜਾ ਮੋਟਾ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਨਿਆਣੇ ਬਣਾਏ ਸੀ ਬਹਾ ਕੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਚੁੱਕੇ ਤੇ ਨਨਕਾਣੇ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਕੈਂਪ 'ਚ ਆ ਗਏ।
And now back to Amritsar to prepare for the overland crossing into Pakistan. For Qasim, a Muslim, it feels like he's already en route home.
Basically, we've come to an old antiquated mosque in the middle of Amritsar, which I never knew existed. I'm really happy to see that it's live and kicking, because even though I've studied into partition, I thought most of the Muslims have gone. But I think it's really encouraging to find that people still feel quite free to practice their religion.
Leaving Amritsar and India to head to Pakistan, the approach to the border is along the Grand Trunk Road, a route lined with bodies in the weeks after partition. Neha and Indy will visit the homes their Sikh and Hindu grandmothers left behind in Pakistan. Qasim follows the route of his relatives who fled from India to Pakistan to join other members of his family in a village beyond Lahore.
Okay, we're just sat in the Commissioner's office right now waiting to be told we can cross over into Pakistan. We just had a cup of tea with him and he's very lovely and welcomed us very nicely, so we're just waiting for the go-ahead to go.
Most vehicles aren't allowed to cross the border, so Indian porters carry the luggage up to the gateway of Pakistan.
I'm going back home.
For Qasim, Pakistan is a second home. For Neha and Indy, this is their first time in the country where their grandmothers were born.
I'm just covering my head now because as we're in Pakistan, women are a lot more covered up, so I've got a shawl on as well because I want to respect how the people are around here, so I'm going to try and stay as covered up as possible. We've just gone past the clock tower, which is it was around here that my grandma lived, and it was a lot bigger than I expected actually. I was expecting like a little tiny clock tower, but it was really big, so it looks lovely.
Neha's grandmother has lived in England for 40 years. But this street in Faisalabad was once her home.
We're walking down the street in which my grandma lived in, so a house would have been a one, I think, near the end.
Yeah.
Right, we're not completely sure, but from the directions that my grandmother could remember, this is the house that they used to live in. Along this street, this is the only one whose building has stayed the same. The rest have been rebuilt, so this is the only authentic house left. And it's a bit strange being in here, but it's really nice to know that this is the family home, this is where they used to live, and I'm really quite excited to be here.
Is that?
When we came in, there was a little baby on the floor, and that's about as old as I imagine my oldest uncle to be. And the lady who's here, she looks quite young as well, and at the time my grandma was only about 20, so it's quite easy to relate, put them back in this situation.
Along the street was the Hindu temple where her grandmother worshipped.
Right now we're at what used to be the local temple around here, but now it's been converted into a mosque, and seeing as there's mostly Muslims and Pakistanis around here, I put my shawl and chunni to keep myself covered up for my safety more than anything else.
Because of political matters, it's always best to, look like, the insider instead of the outsider. And I actually don't mind wearing a chunni. My grandma's always said I look better with one on, so, I guess it's a compliment.
And we've been advised to just look as Pakistani as we can, so I'm trying my best. I feel a bit scared actually about that, but
अपना कहा तो है कहाँ मैं हूँ वहाँ अब तो ये जीना तेरे बिन है सजा.
Right, we're gonna sing another Punjabi song. Alright. मैं निकला ओ गड्डी लेके और रास्ते पर असरक पे एक मोर आया मैं उठे दिल छोड़ आया एक मोर आया मैं उठे दिल छोड़ आया और अब जाने कब मिसरा अमृतसर.
Indy's great-grandfather owned and managed the land around the village of Haripur, an hour's drive from Faisalabad.
I'm a bit nervous because these were the people which lived around here at the time of my grandma, and I don't know how they're going to be. My grandma always tells me how much she loved living in Haripur.
Indy's family was sheltered by their Muslim neighbours, and their neighbour's son still remembers them. She calls her grandmother in Crawley so they can speak.
Hello. Assalamu alaikum baji. ठीक हो मैं ना उस वक्त तुसी जिसले तो गए हो ना.
We had just spoken to my grandma on the phone, and he was just asking how she was, how old she is, and why hasn't she come back, that kind of thing. And she's just told me that she felt really happy speaking to him, and they're both really happy to talk to each other. It just shows, even now he goes to her, well, she's your granddaughter, that makes her my granddaughter as well.
As Indy's great-uncle had told her in India, when the family left their home here in Haripur, they were sheltered by their Muslim neighbours before leaving under the cover of night. Their Muslim friends protected Indy's family as they travelled to take refuge at the Sikh Gurdwara in Shekhapura near the border.
Well, Noura actually dropped off my grandma and her family about 2-3 kilometres away from here in the middle of the night. They only had what they could carry in their hands. And for protection, they kept their gurbans, which are small daggers, and whatever money they could hide within their clothes. And my grandma actually told me she's pretty scared of the army marching up and down, so her and her little brother hid behind pillars. They were actually scared of people they didn't know and the people marching outside.
They stayed hiding behind the pillars till morning, when the gates finally opened.
They were very hungry. They hadn't actually eaten for a couple of days. And when they got inside the temple itself, the granthis, which are the older people of the temple, told them to take as much as food and water as they needed. So my grandma's family decided to take a jar about this big full of cooked, dried out chickpeas. And she told me that from then on, that was their food for the rest of their journey.
When Indy's grandmother left Nangana Sahib, the family were among the last people to join the long caravan of refugees. The British Army guided them to the border. They crossed the river and came to a village just in India, which was deserted. But the crops and water were diseased, and many people fell ill and died, including her grandmother's grandma. And then a family moved through the countryside, making their way to Amritsar and onto their new village. For Qasim, Indy and Neha, this is the final leg of the journey, and the road now takes them to Lahore. Qasim's Pakistani family have also been driving for 3 hours from their village to meet at a hotel in the city. Qasim's uncles were the friends of the Indian villager Sondi. Qasim had heard from Sondi how their village was left in desolation and despair after the flight of his Muslim friends.
ਤੇ ਪਤਾ ਕੀ ਹੈ ਸੁਣਦੀ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਬੰਦਾ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਖੇਡਦਾ ਆ ਜਿਸ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਬੱਚੇ ਹੋ ਉਹ ਆਂਦਾ ਅਸਲਾਮ ਅਲੈਕੁਮ ਤੇ ਮੈਂ ਸੁਣਦੀ ਹੈ ਹਾਂ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਸੁਣਦੀ ਦੋਸਤ ਹੈ ਕਾਫੀ ਬਾਬਾ ਬਣ ਗਿਆ ਲੇਕਿਨ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਬਹੁਤ ਯਾਦ ਕਰਦਾ ਬਹੁਤ ਪੁਰਾਣਾ ਇਹ ਪਤਲਾ ਹੈ इसका बाप भी इसी तरह पतला है जी I've just been talking to them at the moment and they're telling me how much they really miss their village and how much they were angry about going to the village where they are now, the Khandan village, which is like a big extended family in Gujarat. And they're telling me about the story and how tragic it was because they lost their younger brother on the way here, and even at the age of 15 they were exposed to violence and horror that I can't really imagine. I think it's been really hard for them to find a new life in Pakistan, especially since they have so many good memories of Johor.
Qasim's grandmother still lives in Pakistan. Neha and Indy's grandparents now live with their families in England. These grandchildren are just 3 of the millions of people whose lives are still touched by the events of midnight on the 14th of August 1947, when British rule ended and the independent states of India and Pakistan were created.
Partition, what does that really mean to people? If you think about it, 60 years ago, a British man just drew a line down India and that was it. From that day on, people classified themselves as Indian or Pakistani.
I don't think anyone feels that the outcome of the partition justified what happened back then. I think if people could go back, they'd put it in reverse so that it never happened.
No one considered to think we're destroying people's lives. So many people died. So many people still wish it never happened.
The more you learn the facts about partition, the more it seems like a tragedy.